We did just see a game of League of Legends.
We saw 10 minutes of a game.
I think that's
And then we
probably as
saw-
far as I want to describe it. It was a game of League of Legends.
It was a risky composition to take to the table. It definitely was going to be one of those situations where they either stomped or got stomped, I felt, and it just so happened that they got stomped.
And so now that MNM have not succeeded in this unconventional composition from them, I think everyone would expect that they would drastically change things. But I mean, we've talked a little bit about the comp, and maybe you just switch out the Heimerdinger and you've actually got a really decent composition.
I think if they had a different AD carry, they could have done a similar thing where they try and punish bot lane, but then they have more for late game win condition. They have more of more dimensions to the composition rather than just Heimer shove, Heimer hopefully win. But honestly, I feel like at this point you are 1-0 down now.
Yep.
Just play what you're good at. Play a more standard composition. You put Jokerism on that Lucian, which he's done fine on before, and just don't overthink it. Even potentially put Shockwave on the Orianna, because now your backs are slightly against the wall. And I mean, respect to them for coming in and trying something different, but it hasn't worked, and you need this next win if you're going to stay in this competition.
Yeah, it's a really important thing. Like, if you were going to try something, the first game of a series is a good time to try it. Yes, losing a point early on, but if you're confident in your ability to beat your opponents, then come back to the drawing table with a normal in inverted commas plan, and maybe we'll see them be able to take this into a 2-1, or you know, or we'll just see Wind and Rain crush them in a 2-0, because Wind and Rain looked very solid in that game.
They definitely did. I mean, against Phelan, I wasn't quite sure how far Wind and Rain could go, but against MNM here, well, they did well. Let's jump into the picks and bans and see exactly what MNM do have planned for us. I mean, you've said it. Just put Jokerism on Lucian. He just plays Lucian. Like, that's one of his main picks, but it's so good in this meta. On the red side, potentially harder to secure it.
Yeah, I think that was definitely what I was going to say. Is on blue side, they had the potential to pick something like Lucian early on. Now you're on the red side. I mean, if you leave it open, I think it's likely Fax just takes it himself. There's no reason not to.
Yeah, exactly. Fax played so well on it. Lucian is such an adaptable AD carry. He can fit into so many compositions. It's a really good first pick. MNM have the option of banning it, but then you ban a Lucian, which is not always an ideal ban.
Yeah, and that leaves an opportunity open where, I mean, they could first pick a Rakan, and then they go the Zyra Rakan. There's lots of options, I feel, for Wind and Rain. And MNM given over, I felt like they had an advantage on blue side when there's such contested picks, so interesting to see what they do end up banning out here. I think maybe just leave the Lucian open, because then you can go for Zyra Rakan yourself. Maybe ban the Braum out as a bare minimum thing, but actually going for that Zillion. So clearly thinking that was the problem last game.
Well, the Lucian does go through for Fax, a priority pick, as you can see.
Well, we are getting a bit of double vision. We have disappeared. Oh, we're back.
It's pick and banception.
Yep.
It
so
was
good, we showed it twice.
Exactly. It was an ultra Lucian pick because it got picked twice in that section. So really high priority there.
So I think here you could deny the Lucian by picking up the Braum yourself. But I mean, there's options for MNM, but I think. Yep, they will do that. So they've gone with what I said.
It's like they're listening to you, mate.
Yeah, it's like they are. Well, next I'd probably take a jungler myself if I wanted priority in that. You could take an AD carry though, but they've already taken theirs, so no huge need to. Yeah,
you don't need to take your Xayah here unless you're for some reason trying to hold the cards to your chest. You might as well go for something that you want to get priority on. And would you believe it?
Wow, what a surprise! As anyone may have noticed, the mid laner for MNM's name is Shockwave. And for anyone who's not clued up, that is also the name of Orianna's ultimate. So,
do you think there's a coincidence?
Bit of a coinky dink.
No, absolutely no coincidence.
Last week we saw a huge 4-man Shockwave in game 1 against XL, which turned the tails of that game. I think XL were relatively in a solid position, but then Shockwave turned it all around, and MNM just snowballed from that position.
Gonna have fun casting that.
Yeah, I mean, LeBlanc here, gonna be locked in. Crossman did very well on it. It's really cool to see LeBlanc having fun again on the Rift.
Yeah, so I mean, it's similar into the Orianna as it would be into the Rise. I don't think it's, I mean, you don't have the scar on it yet, so it might not be as punishing, and I think Orianna's a bit better at dealing with it. The big question is the Zyra. I mean, Zyra is going to do fine into Braum. Obviously, it's a range advantage, but I mean, we saw this get played in the ELCS by Sir Nukes a lot, and he got nuked a lot. I got absolutely decimated. I think he even tweeted afterwards saying that was the most he's ever inted, ever. So, I mean, question is, will MNM be able to punish? And when they picked up this Varus, there is that potential. Once you hit level 6, Varus Braum, very strong with that all-in. Jokerism, very confident on Varus, and did receive a lot of buffs in this hotfix.
He's one of the best champions that Jokerism has in his arsenal, to be honest. Interestingly, the Orianna. Now, I remember getting taught by Vedius a very long time ago. I know, taught by Vedius. But if Orianna burns her flash, she's one of the most susceptible mid laners to ganks in the game. Against a LeBlanc as well, this is gonna, and considering how Shockwave fared on the rise, if a high pressure jungler comes out from Wind and Rain, that is a lane that they can look to punish over and over.
Good news is Nocturne has been banned, which means that we won't be seeing that in the mid lane against the Orianna. Another one of Vedius's pro tips.
Skarner is still available. So the question I have to ask: do you pick the Skarner yourself?
I think
you do have the priority here.
One thing, I mean, it's tiny mind games. It means literally nothing, but I like to believe it does.
Yeah.
They flashed the Varus before they picked the Skarner, like saying, go on, pick Varus into Skarner, which is like, I just want to believe that that's what was happening. I mean, you know what? Maybe they were just going, we know you're going to pick Varus.
I think Skarner's not a bad pick into this competition in the way that it shapes up. It's going to be a Talia, though.
Not a big fan, I'm going to be honest. I feel like they already have enough damage in that composition. I'm not sure what the Talia honestly offers on top of that. Yes, she has the roam potential with the ult, but the whole thing of a jungle is that you can roam whenever you want. You're not tied to a lane.
Yeah.
And of course, the Talia nerfs came through as well. You know, it's hurting her early game. We knew it was going to be a jungle-centric nerf just to try and slow down the snowball that comes through.
A lot of direct Talia counters are kind of... jungle counters are kind of banned out, though, with the Kha'Zix, the Nidalee, maybe the Graves to an extent. Nocturne as well, I guess. So it does make Talia slightly safer in her jungle clear here.
I feel like you could have taken something like Skarner or Sejuani, just offered follow-up CC for your team. And the thing is, playing into a Skarner as Talia Orianna, Skarner LeBlanc is so punishing. I mean, even if you have your flash, I don't think it really matters. There's so much potential for them to just bully you out.
How about this for a blind pick?
I mean, it's sort of...
It's a Kerberos special.
This is exactly what was done against MNM by Sendo, is to pick the Urgot. And the reason being is that Urgot does fine into tank matchups. And this is, again, going back to people thinking Igloo only plays tanks. And this is Igloo saying, actually, I don't. Yeah. So he's picked a Renekton into that, which obviously has potential to bully in. And honestly, I like MNM's comp a lot apart from that Talia pick. I think that's the only thing I think I would change out. But they have a lot more tools in which they can win this game, and they definitely have the scaling advantage on their side.
They've got a good siege composition, I suppose, in the frame of world where sieges actually exist. They've got, you know, Orianna zoning ball, which gives Talia the option to zone out with her Q as well, allowing time and space for them to take turrets in that situation. They've got good disengage there too, with no real form of engage apart from the flash Skarner ult. So they've got a really good safe composition as long as they can keep a Wind and Rain at bay and keep tabs on LeBlanc not snowballing. If LeBlanc snowballs this game, I'm just very worried for a lot of members on MNM.
And it looks so easy for Crossman to do it in the previous game. I mean, part of it's good roaming, part of it's timing a bot.
One of the benefits of Orianna, though, is that she can build magic resist early, and she doesn't mind going Banshee's Veil. You know, it's not an item that's awful on Orianna, you know.
Yeah,
so
or you could just go Merc Treads, Abyssal Mask, Spirit Visage, get adaptive. Why not? You know.
Why not just the whole thing?
Yeah, the whole shebang.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see Merc Treads come out on Orianna potentially.
Right.
I mean, there's the cause for that against it, especially if he's struggling against the LeBlanc. But Orianna obviously also has her Command Protect, which can provide a little bit of shielding potential versus the LeBlanc burst there as well.
I think the issue as well is I would have much preferred something tanky in the jungle, because now if Orianna plays safely and puts herself in a position where she has the items to deal with that burst, Talia's then vulnerable because she's a lot slower on their build path, because obviously she has to invest in a jungle item, doesn't get as much gold as a mid laner does, so you essentially have two vulnerable mages as options for Wind and Rain instead of just having one.
And then the Varus as well, you know, it's going to be another juicy target. Crossman has his whole pick of the litter, really. Who's he going to blow up in an instant? Who's the high priority targets? And there's not really the most punish for a LeBlanc. There's not the CC that you would expect to be able to shut stuff like that down. Brom can't instantly CC.
Rambo Varusol is the only one.
Yeah, and Renekton's stun, I suppose, but even so, you have to be
if you're
perfectly positioned.
If you're in melee range of the Renekton, then you deserve to get killed.
So, I mean, we now need to like turn our heads to where these teams end up winning with their specific compositions, because obviously there's great scaling coming out from MNM. They have that potential for late game sieges on the towers. I think the Renekton needs to look to bully the Urgot, who's a fairly short range top laner.
Yep.
So that's where I would be looking if I was MNM. What are your thoughts on the whole shebang? Or
yeah, I think.
Here's my 40-year-old dad language.
Wind and Rain have a lot of tools with which to snowball. They have the potential to punish mid. They're going to have pressure top and bot because of range advantages, and they just need to start that off and then just snowball it as they did last game. Whereas On the other side, MNM just need to weather the storm. If they do get to the late game, they are in a great position, but they have so many vulnerabilities with their comp. That's what I fear for them.
Okay, very good, yeah. Dalcy, what are your thoughts?
I like Aatrox. He's a really fun champion that got reworked, and now I'm really. I mean,
I think he looks cool.
He looks very cool. MNM's like composition here, obviously, is much more viable. Like that's the one thing that's.
I love how I've made you the analyst now because I'm doing the play-by-play.
Yeah, well, no, that's the fun thing for a colored caster is that they can yell loudly, but a play-by-play caster doesn't suddenly inherit the high-level knowledge necessary.
Yeah, you can't grow a brain.
Save me, Frozen Dawn. No. I mean, yeah, it's going to be tough because Crossman's LeBlanc clearly just was very good, and so when you have 3 vulnerable targets who are going to want to try and stay far back, it doesn't help. The Urgot pick, it makes sense if you think Igloo only plays tanks, and clearly Igloo, we know that he wants to carry. It's always
going to be
his,
tough. It's going to be a tough
matchup
matchup versus the Renekton, I think. I think if you get ahead as the Urgot, then maybe there's options for you to deal with the Renekton, but it is, you know, Renekton is picked primarily as a lane bully. Renekton just is a lane bully, and he should be able to deal with well, the primary reason people pick Urgot into tanks is because his shove early on is exceptional. Like, he will just shove tanks into the turret over and over again. Won't happen versus Renekton, and Renekton can trade really nicely too.
We talked about it very briefly when it got picked, but we've kind of glanced over it just a little bit since the Varus has been picked. Zyra potentially has that kill pressure as well in the bot lane. Varus obviously is going to want to stand back, try and farm from afar.
I mean, I feel like early game, yes, you're going to get shoved in, but as soon as you hit level 6, I mean, I'm not going to ult. Like, if you're the Varus, you ult, Braum ult. I don't even think you don't even need an auto. I think if you ult Braum ult and then you just fire the charged Q with your W, I think the Zyra just dies.
She's got such low base HP, she's just fried. And obviously Taliyah has that potential to come down as well very easily. One of the benefits of Taliyah jungle is that she can act like a semi-nocturne, just come in with the wall and provide pressure.
Hey guys, I'm here.
My one worry is the worry that both of you gentlemen have, which is that mid lane for Shockwave. Now, like, he is playing a signature champion for himself, so you would expect him to know how to play this matchup into LeBlanc and try and keep himself as safe as possible. So,
well, we're going to jump into game, gentlemen. Take it away. It's game 2. MNM and Win and Reign.
Yep,
Thank you very much, Dalcy. Orcs was about to do my job. Thank you.
Sorry, I forgot. Yep, you're the one doing play-by-play. I'm color.
Were you about to play-by-play?
No, I was just about to do some rambling.
I want to hear some play-by-play from Orcs. You want to play-by-play the start of this game?
Oh, and Orianna is standing still. Crossman and ulti in the brush. They are waiting, but what are they waiting for? We don't know. We could ask them, but it's not. They're not available right now. It looks like Crossman's going to walk up.
I like it, actually. I'm a big fan.
Oh, thank you.
So, defensive positions being held by everybody here. No surprises there. And things are just all quiet on the Summoner's Rift as it stands. Everything's going to be starting on bot side. Stop looking at me like that, Dalcy. Everything's going to be starting on the bot side of the jungles here. Skylar is red, obviously Taliyah at her blue. We'll have to see how much Taliyah's clear has been affected by those hotfix nerfs, the 2 seconds on Q in the early game.
I think that, I mean, it's testament that she's starting bot side. Clearly, she wants the extra help with the leash from her bot lane. I mean, that's where the biggest disadvantage is going to be. You've got 2 extra seconds on the cooldown off your Q, so in that first buff clear it's going to be a disadvantage, and you can see Shockwave just willing to trade with Crossman there, and you saw Crossman go for that last game against the Rise, but Orianna does fare a bit better at just trading autos into enemy champions.
You can see here Igloo just trying to go aggressive against Kerberos. Now, we talked about Kerberos. He did bring this out in the EU Masters. I can say for a fact Kerberos was in the EU Masters and he did play Urgot.
Yeah, that is correct.
I thoroughly remember that. He also did pretty well on Urgot, actually. He's one of those champions that Kerberos is known for playing some of the slightly more awkward champions in the top lane that not a lot of the top laners would often play.
Yeah.
So he is a good mid laner. That's going to be Braum getting rooted up here. They do have to be careful because the I'm a cutie pie, just get level 2 man and go all in.
I mean, the problem I have with Zyra in this meta is she's so vulnerable to getting bursted by a lot of these early game champions. And not just that, like, no matter how hard you shove in Jokerism, he's just going to TP back to lane. I mean, we saw that last game, is that they had this range advantage onto the Lucian, and it just didn't amount to anything. And I feel like War have taken a leaf out of MNM's book on how to lose, and it's pick a lane that relies on getting shoved and snowball them from there. Because if they get to level 6 and they haven't got an advantage, I feel like the Zyra is just going to die.
Oh, Shockwave now. Again, Crossman looking to be aggressive, but actually a fairly even trade between the two of them in that situation. Shockwave managing to dodge out the tether and also using that command protect where he can. And you can see Talia being aggressive. The shove in the top lane is allowing a little bit of Igloo to roam down. And they're just going to back off for now.
Yep. Oh, Fax going aggressive there.
Jokerism lands a cheeky auto in return. Or another all-in here.
I mean, if she survives...
Oh, minions! First blood goes down!
Oh,
I was just desperately holding my breath because I felt like that was going to be the end of it, but it is going to be first blood going over to Crossman there, and that is the small advantages being gained now. Flash was available, but obviously those minion autos had already landed. Shockwave is going to be feeling pretty salty about that.
Yeah, I mean, if he'd survived that, that would have actually been huge. You would have traded up in terms of summoners, but just enough damage to take Shockwave down, and that is the start of something bad.
Yep. He has got his flash though, so he's not going to be super vulnerable in terms of ganks just yet. Orianna still has that option to get out in this situation, but goodness me, if we see another snowball from Crossman on this LeBlanc, I do fear for MNM as Jokerism gets chunked out here. As you can see Talia making her way down. That is going to be a heal coming through just to try and get the Wind and Rain bot lane out. A nice seismic shove is going to stop Fax getting in there, and he's going to have to flash too. That's going to be a return on to Hades. He's going to flash too. Flash is being burnt left, right, and center here. But really, you would say the advantage now going over to MNM in that bot lane gank.
Yeah, massively. I mean, they get summoners from the Zyra, flash from the Lucian as well. Going to be really difficult to play at level 6.
Igloo going all in onto Kerberos here. He has to be super careful. There is some pressure coming down onto Shogun, but yeah, that is the trades that you just don't want to take it as an Urgot. And as the Renekton, you have to sustain with the Kolva Meek as well. Yeah,
and you actually see the Kerberos flashing away there and then getting forced off on the recall by Renekton.
So let's have a look at that replay, Orcs. This is going to be that all-in trade in the mid lane.
I mean, you saw Crossman fishing for it constantly. He does finally land the chain. As soon as he does, drops the ignite, then flashes out after he feels like he has enough damage. I mean, I don't want to say calculated, but it seemed like Crossman had pulled one out and worked out exactly how much damage he needed there.
Something I've been really impressed with from Notley here has been that Drake control. And again, right on the back tanning of the MNM bot lane, they're going to pick up their first Drake of the game, which I believe was an Ocean as well.
Nope, that was...
What was it?
Last game was an Ocean.
Was it a Cloud Drake? Or is it a Mountain Drake? I can't quite remember which one it was.
Last game was Ocean.
Yeah.
Then it was Infernal.
Oh, it's Infernal. I can actually see the icon at the top there. So they picked up an Infernal Drake to
Wait, are you guessing about that? I thought you were talking about last game.
No, I was talking about this game. I didn't see it.
Look at...
That is really tiny. I've got really bad eyesight.
Okay, I'm sorry. You just tap my hand and you tell me what you want me to see for you. I'll be your eyes. I'll be your guide dog.
Okay, thanks, bud. It's going to look like a gank coming up to this top lane. Hades trying to go in. Seismic shove onto Kerberos. He is going to be pretty exposed. And no flash, like you said, is working his way. He's going to have to be one more Kolva Meek. Something is going to have to give here as Igloo does get that tower dive. Takes 3 tower shots to get that kill onto Kerberos. But that is what you do have to worry about in that Urgot-Renekton matchup.
I mean, that's the thing, is that when you're this weak against, like, and getting up close against someone, you're just so vulnerable. And Nolly tries to make a cross-map play, but isn't able to find anything hard to punish this Braum. And this is the problem, is that you blind pick this Urgot in complete confidence, and it just really isn't working here against Igloo. I mean, this is exactly what XL did, but then Igloo went for Mundo. Here, he's willing to take the Renekton and actually bring it.
So actually, you can see here, this was just a really nice seismic shove by Hades. Again, got a fairly low mobility after he has used his dash, and it was just an easy pickup. Igloo tanks 1, he tanks 2. I don't know why I'm doing this. This is Orcs' job.
Yeah, tanks several tower shots, but I mean, he even manages to stack up the Conqueror after the end of that. Just has the damage. Kerberos completely exposed. And
I'm still getting used to being the other side of the fence, you see.
Fine.
You can do the next play-by-play if you like.
Okay.
Do you want to have a go?
Yeah, why not?
All right, let's see what happens. It's just like, you know, a bit of a treat.
Yeah, just a bit of Orcs play-by-play and see how it goes.
But Kerberos lost a huge amount of minions there as well. It doesn't look like it in terms of CS, but he did lose quite a lot of experience. Here's an
Level
all-in.
6 is available for Igloo, but just wants to tussle a bit with the Urgot. Doesn't want to go for anything too committal.
I will shut up when it's the next time for play-by-play so you can really have a go at it.
Oh, okay. I'm hyped. I'm ready. No pressure.
No pressure. Don't worry, you can't be as bad as me, so it's all good. So, Jokerism and Shogun, they feel fairly confident in this bot lane right now. Obviously, they still have their summoners available. Fax and Katsune a little bit. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, Igloo going aggressive onto... No, never mind.
We'll get you there eventually, Orcs.
Yep.
Don't you worry.
Something to note, level 6 has been hit of this Varus.
Oh, here we go, towards the bot lane. That is going to be a nice shield onto the culling there for Shogun.
Still does a fair amount of damage, though, to him. Fax able to clear out the wave is the key thing.
They knew that that bot lane rotation was happening, though, from Hades and
Crossman
Shockwave.
might be looking here. Does actually go in, finds a chain on Hades, and is able just to cut him down with the Ignite as well. Shockwave now exposed here. Great follow-up from Nulty means that Shockwave's going to fall as well. Good clean up, 2 clean kills for Wind and Rain.
Oh, do you know what, mate? That's not half bad. Oh, he's gone red. Look at him. That was not bad, Ox. Well done.
Thank you.
Me and Dowsey exchanged a little glance of little sly nods.
I just had gas.
Oh, well, okay.
Oh, that's what that was.
And
Oh.
we're going over to our reporter on the sidelines for Dowsey. Oh, he just had guess. Anyway, getting back to this game, which is slightly more attractive than that thought. That was a really nice collapse, I think, from Crossman, and they actually just, in fact, responded to that bot lane really well. Hades and Shockwave moving down, they just caught them out, and again, look at the vision control, Orcs, in that area around the dragon, all in favor of Wind and Rain.
Absolutely. I mean, this is a difficulty when you pick Talia or Orianna mid against a LeBlanc Skarner. You really can't face check into it ever, and we just saw exactly why. Both of them end up getting punished there, and it's 2 free kills over the Wind and Rain, and that's exactly what you need, because Wind and Rain have a comp, needs to snowball, needs to get these advantages, and so far they've started.
Yeah, and especially in that mid lane towards Crossman, who honestly has looked fantastic on this LeBlanc. Is this something that in the future people are going to be looking at and saying this needs to be a ban versus him, because he has absolutely played this to a T so far?
I think the issue... oh, wait, we're seeing some aggression top lane.
Oh, that is going to be Seismic Shove flashed out, but they are not done yet. Igloo is going to back off after the dash comes out from Urgot, and he's very happy to say, okay, some more resources for Kerberos burnt here. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah, but does mean you are now once again without a flash for Kerb, so might be a position where they can go for a count gank, but we are seeing something bot.
Oh, here comes Skarner. A really nice defensive ultimate from Braum, but he is going to get locked up. There is the shield. A nice zoning ultimate from the Zyra, and that is going to be another kill. They are going to try and trade for Kerberos in the top lane, which should happen with Igloo, but here comes Crossman. He's going to dive over, trying to go for Hades, who is very low. A single sigil should be able to manage that, and they are going to get a return kill on that top side. Oh my word, Crossman has been so impressive so far.
Yeah, I mean, the thing for me is it's not so much just the LeBlanc pick in itself. I think it's the fact that every single time, regardless of side, MNM have blinded their mid laner, and it's meant that Wind and Rain can counterpick. So first game, they first picked the Rise, meant that Crossman knew what he's up against. And then this game, the Orianna was picked very early on. I mean, if you give us a counter pick constantly to someone like Crossman, who's confident on these assassin mid laners, he will punish you.
Shockwave has not had an excellent time on one of his signature champions, which is that Orianna. He's been very heavily punished by Crossman so far. And for a person I haven't really seen much of, Crossman has been thoroughly impressive. They're going to try and put pressure onto Notley here, but he will just dodge out from that seismic shove. Kerberos has made his way down towards this Dragon Pit area as well, Orcs. And it gets towards 11 minutes in the game. Has Wind and Rain started that snowball that they so desperately need?
I think they've definitely started it. Whether they're going to keep getting the traction is another thing. Second Inferno would be a big
One to get under their belt if they really wanted to start continue to snowball, because honestly 2 Infernals is massive in the late game, and for a team comp that struggle later on, that can be enough to swing it around. And you can see so much priority put in it. They have all 5 members there, and not even sure if MNM are going to contest this.
I think it would be very difficult for them to do so, but a double Inferno really limits some of the scaling potential and also gives some scaling potential to the Wind and Rain composition that's going to elongate the effectiveness that they get from all of their champions.
Yeah, next Drake. Ooh, lots of burst there. I forgot what that new one's called. The lightning bolt thingy comes in, puts a lot of damage in his shockwave. I mean, it used to be called Thunderlords, but Electrocute.
It is Electrocute.
Electrocute, yeah. The Electrocute comes in, and just a huge amount of burst. It just shows how far ahead this LeBlanc is already.
Shockwave has got to be so careful here. He can't afford to give anything away.
I had a flash then. I was like, no, flash away. Go on AFK. See you guys. You can handle LeBlanc.
Yeah, and Igloo does get a return top lane tier 1, but that is a small consolation prize for the state of this game right now for MNM. About 1,000 gold behind at 12 minutes.
But the big tell is the double Infernals and what that's going to mean for the late game. Because
LeBlanc with double Infernal scares me, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to get to the point where she can just pop anyone she chooses, bar maybe Renekton, possibly Braum. So, a lot of threat. And you can see Wind and Rain starting to get control on this top side, wanting to turn around and pressure this top turret.
Yeah, they're also going for the Rift Herald as well, and another global objective. They know that at this point in time, the zoning potential and the kill threat of the LeBlanc is too much for MNM to try and deal with, and MNM are just forced to sit back and let these objectives slide to the wayside. which Wind and Rain will happily pick up. This advantage that Igloo has, it's not significant enough against Kerberos. It really is not.
I mean, it's a Renekton as well, who doesn't scale massively well. Kerberos has even gone for a defensive build. Normally the priority with Nergot is you want to rush that Black Cleaver for a big spike. But he knows he's not the win condition anymore. He just wants to survive against this Renekton and not be dead weight for his team. So respect for him for realizing what his role is in this game. And going to be tricky for Igloo to sort of capitalize on this lead.
Notley's been impressive as well, by the way. I feel like I haven't touched on this enough.
Nulty, it's L-Venti.
Nulty. You see, my vision is just so bad.
It's alright.
Nulty. I kind of want to call him Notley, though.
It's cool. We understand you're an old man.
I am. I think I am the oldest on the desk as well, so I can officially claim that.
I mean, you're definitely older than me.
I think I'm definitely older than Darcy as well.
Yeah.
I'm getting nods. Getting nods all around. They know I'm an old man.
Yeah. It's okay. We'll get you some glasses when we're sending you to the retirement home.
I actually do need glasses. I just never wear them. It's really bad. Anyway, let's reel this back in from Excoundrel's Glasses Adventures to the state of this game. MNM have stemmed the bleeding somewhat. Despite the global objective loss, they are still only 1,000 gold down. And again, they are a team that is going to be happy to try and scale up here. Jokerism has finished his Ginsu's Rage Blade as well, which is a small item spike with the Varus. What do MNM need to continue to do here to allow them to try and seek out that win condition?
I think just keep stalling. It's going to be tricky now because Lucian has his Blade of the Ruined King and LeBlanc has his Illusions. But I think you just want to keep the game going for as long as possible. This mid-game sort of period is the tricky one. Once it gets to the point where Jokerism can invest in maybe even a Banshees or a Zhonya's, because if he does go for that AP Varus build, if he goes for more of an AD focus build, then you can potentially pick up something like a GA. And you're a lot more safe, and you can just output free damage with the support from the Orianna. So I think just play it safe, don't go too aggressive. Or potentially look for some plays on this Zyra. I think that is the one window where they really have a chance, an avenue. Because if you land a Varus on that Zyra, she is very doomed.
I feel like the spidey senses of Wind and Rain are tingling right now because Skarner is hovering around that top side of the map. Hades very happy to try and sit it out though. He's cleared most of his jungle, doesn't really have anywhere else to be, so just going to try and sit. The culling comes through. That's an aggressive move by Fax, and there's not going to be a commit as Nulty comes through. I think this is just this is literally, I think, going to be the Tilia just biding her time as, whoa, my god, he gets blown up. I did not expect that to happen. The shockwave comes through, but some flashes are good, and it's only onto Kerberos. Oh, what are you doing, Hades? Right on the back line, manages to flash away from that Zyra ultimate. Kerberos going in. He wants to continue the assault, but unfortunately does not have the damage to compensate for it. The Righteous Glory is going to be that pick-off. Here comes Igloo. We're not done yet. He flashes in. Kerberos manages to escape. That wasn't the follow-up on the wall from the Talia, and that will be that.
So many flashes, and it was a great idea from Hades. He just sat in that brush, went for the flank, nearly took out Crossman.
Got a replay coming.
So you can see Hades just chilling on that brush. He knows that if he reveals himself, he will die. Shogun is the sacrificial lamb, does get Skarner ulted and gets traded, but you can see off the backside, Shockwave comes in and had the potential for a big ult, flashes burn, but then great play from Hades, isn't quite enough to finish out Crossman, but again, lost to Summoner's Burn, and it shows MNM still willing to fight this.
Yeah, and it shows that they actually do have the juice to back it up as well.
Oh, it just felt like few more bits of damage at any point in that, and they would have had it, but you know, we have said they have a scaling composition, so if a fight like that happens later in the game, they will end up winning.
And this 401 LeBlanc has not yet found much more apart from that kill onto the Braum there. So we're still, it is a snowballing LeBlanc, but not quite to the extent that we saw previously. We're going to see the Rift Herald open up in the mid lane here. And with the backs from MNM, you feel like they have just conceded this mid lane tier 1. I don't know how much Braum is going to do in terms of defense. Yeah,
I think you just give it up. The Rift Herald does so much damage to it. You just have to defend the inner tower. Yeah, it's dead already. Clear the minion wave out, clear the Rift Herald out, and just try and regain some control. I mean, you're only down one tower. It's not the end of the world. Next dragon coming up is a mountain. Honestly, I just say just give it up.
Yeah. I think at this point you've just got to concede that it's very difficult to fight Wind and Rain on their terms right now. And you don't want to get baited into a trap, especially when you've got low vision control of that area.
I think if it's another Infernal, that's where you really have to ask the question, can we give this up? But a mountain, it's not going to make that much of a difference. I feel there's so much damage already in Wind and Rain that Baron times quick. But looks like Shogun has overstepped here.
Oh, he's going to get blasted as Kerberos tries to go in. Oh my word, Jokerism picks up Fax, who overextends. There's the shockwave. That's the man that we know. And the zoning Zyra ultimate does little but disengage for MNM. What a turnaround for them. They get 3 kills, or 2 kills off the back of that even. And that is going to allow them to push onto this mid lane tier 1.
Yeah, and it's just Wind and Rain committing for the wrong person. Oh, wait, we're seeing more.
That is a really, really good shield from Shogun, because I think that pretty much single-handedly saved Hades right there.
Yeah, so we will see a replay here, and you can see they overcommit onto this Braum. It worked well before because no one else was there to assist, but they commit so hard onto... I mean, someone who's essentially not that useful. Fax actually oversteps massively, gets caught by the Varusol, and then the whole team gets punished. They're a team... Wind and Rain's comp does well with picks. They don't do well in team fights, and you saw this so clearly here.
Actually, it was just a really good combination as well between that Braum ultimate and the seismic shove. I just don't think... I think Fax didn't expect it. He just didn't expect the Shogun to find the response. Yeah.
And you can see he's actually gone for the QSS now because he is scared of that Varusol, which did actually catch him in the end. But again, good team fight from MNM, and the further we get into the game, the more realistic are their chances of pulling fights like those off. And
you can see actually the QSS has delayed parts of this Lucian's build. He's still only sitting on that Blade of the Ruined King, whereas Jokerism is working up towards his next item.
Which I believe is a Blade of the Ruined King. So, yeah. I mean, previously, a lot of people went for the AP Varus. But he obviously gone for the AD here.
We're going to take a look at the replay. This was...
yeah, we did actually miss this kill. Oh, Shogun trying to save his teammate. Yep, unlucky, buddy.
Just a bad back area there for MNM. That was a small pick that we didn't see 5-0-1 on this Crossman.
Yeah, Crossman, irrespective of what's happened in this game, he's just been the MVP throughout this series. Even though Wind and Rain's victory doesn't look as clear-cut in this game, he's definitely been performing solidly, and just another show of it there. 5-0-1. I mean, what more can you ask for?
Exactly. Kerberos now working towards the Black Cleaver, it looks like, so the Righteous Glory was just there initially to try and weather the storm, I think, and provide some sort of team utility, especially for the Skarner. It's a great addition to Skarner's kit to have the Righteous Glory on board. Also allows Urgot to run in and make that sort of dash play.
He did flip Shogun in the last team fight, which sort of led to the follow-up on him, so can't complain too much about that. Interesting to see how this matchup goes now. He is a level ahead of Igloo, in fact, at this point. And you can see he's just able to bully him out.
Yeah, I think you have to be so careful as the Renekton now. I think you've got past the point where you're going to start to be dominant. Your base damages are starting to fall off now. They are gearing up for a potential top lane dive here. Everybody making their way over towards this top lane tier 1. Jokerism does not want to overcommit because that vision was getting cleared out.
Yep, looks like I'm just playing it a bit safe. Playing on the defensive. Cautious off this LeBlanc, who is happily shoving away mid. So, not that cautious, but aware the roam will come in now, and she's looking to try and impact the top side of this map. Nalty moving in to sort of control some vision. Baron up, but I feel like not really an option for Wind and Rain at this point in the game.
I feel against the Tilia and an Orianna in that area, it's going to be very difficult unless you get a major advantage. And Kerberos now, with a little bit of AD behind him and those level advantages as well, is starting to shove for the Renekton in. This is probably not where Igloo envisions himself being at 21 minutes into the game, especially given how well they played the laning phase versus Kerberos. But honestly, Kerberos' itemization and his ability to just stick this out has given him advantages now versus Igloo.
Yeah, I mean, he's completely happy. I think it's the bulkiness from the Urgot at this point. You can no longer just engage onto the Urgot as the Renekton and try and burst him out. You'll barely break through his shield, and then he's just going to start pumping repeated damage into you as well. Something that has been picked up by Kerberos is the Glacial Augment. Does synergize with the Righteous, and also provides some CC. So if you do get in range of Kerberos in any situation, you'll get slowed down, and it's an easy catch-up from the side of the Urgot.
I've just been passed a refreshing beverage by my wonderful
tasty
commentator.
Beverage.
Exactly. It's just water.
Yep, can't complain. So I think in this point, MNM, again, they're not far behind. They're happy just to keep scaling. I think you just have to be cautious of the Baron threat, which, again, not a massive prospect. I don't think Wind and Rain are likely to do it anytime soon, but that is the only real threat. Oh, Crossman actually found Hades here.
Oh, that's so much damage, and he gets out of the shockwave. Goodness me, you just can't let that happen. You just cannot let Crossman continue to find these picks. It's just too easy for him.
And that just seemed like such a mess up from him. Hades, he just walked into him, walked around the corner. I didn't expect him to be there, and just blown up.
Vision control is lacking, especially on that river area there for MNM. They've just been completely pushed out of their vision.
Yeah, and we will see a replay there. Yeah, Hades walks on the corner, going for a nice little stroll. Oh, there's a LeBlanc. Good attempt from Shockwave to sort of bring it back, but the flash makes sure he is clear. So Crossman knowing the limits of his champion and knowing when he needs to get out of dodge.
Yeah, that's another kill, though, another pickup, and Honestly, it's looking pretty dire if you're a Squishy now on MNM facing up against the damage that Crossman is putting out. Still Kerberos shoving in Igloo. I mean, Renekton is all bar useless. He looks like he's going for
an Essence Reaver. Yeah, I think once he picks up the Essence Reaver, this matchup might actually change, because if you pop your ult, the reduced cooldown from whenever you auto attack actually means you have a ton of sustained damage. So he has picked it up now. I don't know. I don't play too much top lane, but this could turn things around. But Crossman actually overextended a bit here.
He's going to go and put a lot of damage there into Shogun, but Shogun takes that damage so well. It is so close to him going down. The culling gets tanked up by a teammate, and he will escape very barely with his life. That was a teleport, I think, that came in from Igloo as well, and that's going to allow Kerberos to shove now with that Black Cleaver onto that top lane tier 2 turret.
Yeah, so Wind and Rain looked like Crossman was making a bit of a mistake, but they honestly get out of it fairly okay with that. They end up bearing the TP from Igloo. They don't lose any members.
They even steal a blue buff.
Yeah.
Get a tier 2 turret in the top lane potentially.
Yeah, I wouldn't be complaining. Oh, Akatsune could be stepping up there a bit, but
he's had a pretty good game as well, to be honest. Like, hasn't died, hasn't been isolated as much as we potentially thought he would be. Has picked up a decent amount of AP behind him as well here, Orcs.
Yeah, I would have thought you got punished more by this Braum Varus combo, but it just feels like they're being on the back foot consistently. I think a big part to how the laner phase was played by Fax and Akatsune, but also from just the pressure that's exerted by this LeBlanc existing and being so strong. And it just, I mean, it goes back to my question is, was Talia the right pick here? It doesn't seem to be making that much impact, and it just seems like another target for Crossman to blow up.
Item spikes now, Orcs. Let's review where we're at. Orianna's still a little bit behind, as you would expect. The LeBlanc, who's probably about a full item ahead of her counterparts. Jokerism has now finished his second item, which was indeed that Blade of the Ruined King. And we're still waiting for the Black Cleaver now to be finished by Lucian. That will be a big item spike for Fax. But this is something that you feel MNM need to contest. It is another Infernal Drake.
Yeah, I think if you give this one up, you're really extending the point at which you outscale massively.
Flank from the Zyra behind the entire squad of MNM. Not caught in vision right now. She does need to be careful because she can absolutely separate this team with the right position. That's the culling coming out. Gets blocked up mostly by Shogun. They feel like they could be walking into a trap. There's a really nice potential engage here as Igloo makes his way round. They're going to catch the backline. Huge damage coming down, and MNM are getting chunked out, but they do return one. The shockwave is good, but not good enough as Igloo still on the front line. Talia escapes, but I think they got the Infernal. They traded 2 kills for that Infernal Drake. A 2-for-1 in an Infernal is not a bad situation for MNM to be in, Orcs.
It was actually 3-4 in the end. But still, again, I agree. They got the Infernal. Oh, they might actually pick up another one here. Nope. Heal comes out from Akatsune. And they might chase down Kib. And he just survives.
He didn't need to be there. Didn't need to try and take Kerberos. I think he just got a little bit greedy. And you can see now all of Wind and Rain barreling towards Baron, and now they're a little bit low. This could be a risky one, but with a Zyra, you can take it very quickly.
Yeah, the jungler, it has just respawned, is going to head over. We are going to see a replay of that last fight, so lots of damage tanked up at the front end. It's just Akatsune off the screen, in the flank, and you see, as MNM are wanting to move forwards, his root comes on the back line, and it puts them in a pinch. Joe has to flash away to try and survive Jokerism on this Varus, and then he just gets flipped by Kerberos, and they're all collapsed on. Shockwave does survive and manage to back off, but they lose control of the dragon area and the fight.
That's just going to be Baron.
Oh, that could have been close.
That was close, but luckily Notley had made his way back over, and Nolty had made his way back over, and he had picked that smite up, so obviously had that easy.
Okay, this is a stretch, but in some ways, picking up the Infernal was more important for the Baron than the Baron for MNM. Because if you lose that third Infernal, I really question if you ever outscale, just because it's so impactful. It's 24% AP and AD. It's huge. But by picking up one yourself, it's only 8% advantage to Wind and Rain. And yes, the Baron is huge, but if you don't let them crack your base, you're playing to the same thing, which is scale up. So I think it was definitely the right decision to fight for that dragon, and very fortunate they did manage to pick it up. The question is, how much will Wind and Rain get now off this Baron buff?
Yeah, that is the weather of the storm that MNM need to have now. They need to make sure that they're able to rebut any of those siege potentials that come through. It looks like we're going to see Crossman head towards a side lane, maybe use that potential of being just incredibly overpowered compared to anybody else in the game right now to try and seek 1v1 potentials and just make it difficult for anyone to respond to him. He is drawing some attention from the rest of the MNM squad right now, which could result in Wind and Rain putting pressure elsewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's exactly the way you want to do it. Keep the LeBlanc by herself, and
I mean, you have to send at least 2 people to deal with it, otherwise you're really at threat of being all in. And look how strong Kerberos is now. This is a problem, though. Obviously, a lot of XP and gold given over by Baron, so I mean, yes, if MNM survive this Baron without losing too much, they have a chance to bring it back, but it's going to be so difficult.
Yeah, and Kerberos is just so difficult for Igloo to respond. I think they're going to lose every single inhibitor turret here. MNM have got to do something miraculous in order to try and take this. It has to be another one of those shockwave moments. I just don't
get a
feel...
5-man. 5-man shockwave, but the problem is they're so split. I mean, this is the advantage that Wind and Rain has. Their comp does fine when they're split up. LeBlanc self-sufficient. The Kerberos on this got self-sufficient. MNM want a group team fight, and they're not going to be given it by Wind and Rain.
No, they are just very reluctantly. MNM were definitely searching for something. I can imagine the comms, or we just have to fight, we have to fight. But Wind and Rain with this Baron are going to tear them apart at the seams. Cross goes in, gets met by the Shogun shield. But honestly,
can't punish him.
Honestly, right now, they've got what they came for, which was the entirety of the base.
Yeah, absolutely. All 3 inhibitors. They can just reset, pick up some gold, pick up some more resources. And the problem is now is that MNM are confined to their base. The fortunate thing is it's going to be a while to the next Baron, but the map is completely Wind and Rain's right now. The game's in their control, and MNM just have to hope.
Hope, I think, is a fickle thing, because they are over 10k gold down now at this point in time.
Yeah.
It's going to be so tough, and like you said, the double Infernal makes this team composition that was technically supposed to be outscaled match the MNM guys very easily, plus all the levels, item spikes, and level spikes that they have all over. They are just stronger,
I think MNM getting an Infernal back does sort of help if this game goes like 40 minutes, but at the rate it's going now, I just don't think it will.
It's not going to go 40 minutes.
There's such a huge advantage on the side of Wind and Rain. I mean, the levels is such a huge thing as well. 2 on Kerberos, 1 on Crossman. It's actually equalized in AD carry, but it just means Igloo just gets murdered when he's in a side lane against this Urgot, and then any time anyone's standing anywhere, it's a threat for Crossman just to burst them out. He has so much damage now. I actually even think that if you got time to pull a full combo, he could burst through potentially the Braum and the Renekton.
I think there is one glaring point that we do need to touch on here, and that is the fact that, I mean, this is an 8-0 for LeBlanc.
Yeah.
Something has gone wrong again in this mid lane for MNM. This is going to be the last hurrah, you feel, as Igloo goes in. A brilliant Zyra ultimate basically separates everybody. Crossman gets to the back line. He's trying to go into the back there, Igloo, but I don't think he's going to get much love, even just going onto this Zyra. The rest of the team is getting absolutely torn to pieces. The Nexus is exposed, and Wind and Rain need but only push for the final victory here in this series versus MNM. They're going to go through to our finals versus Diabolus tomorrow, and Wind and Rain made it look easy.
They made it look so easy here, gentlemen. Wind and Rain, not even contested in this series at all by MNM, even though in that game it was closer. Crossman's LeBlanc.
I mean, if I'm Diabolus and I'm watching this, I'm thinking, do we have an answer to this? Are we confident? Because, I mean, you think about Zeph's champion pool, LeBlanc murders Aurelion Sol. Like, absolutely murders him. It's like the counter matchup. So, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw bans coming out for that tomorrow. But, honestly, dominating performance from Wind and Rain. And this was a matchup we thought would be pretty close. And, frankly, one-sided is all I can really say.
Yeah, we did see Diabolus banning LeBlanc in their games, especially because I think this is going to be good going into the matchup versus Wind and Rain here, because again, really good point there is that Zeph's traditional champion pool is absolutely slaughtered by LeBlanc. So that's going to be I think that'll be an easy ban in the draft phase there for Diabolus. Get that off the table. Crossman is an absolute beast with that champion, but I've got to say MNM kind of fed him. It sounds bad, but MNM gave away so many easy kills to Crossman's LeBlanc.
I think for me, it was just this Taliyah pick just didn't make sense. It seemed like MNM got through the draft phase, and they were aware that this Taliyah was still available, and they went, why not just pick it? And I mean, there's plenty of reasons why you don't pick it. I think this was unlucky from Shockwave.
You could flash the minion autos here.
I think
potentially.
You flash and then you shield yourself.
Yeah. So those minion ondos were the ones who killed it. The ignite wasn't going to kill. But it's like he flashed instantly. It's like that's such.
It's such a. I don't think that was the issue. It's such a small misplay. I think it just came from the fact that you had no support from your jungler, because the Taliyah just gets run over by the Skarn and the LeBlanc. So if Taliyah comes to assist you, they'll just turn on her and kill her as well.
The turning point for me was that very obvious and I think quite telegraphed bot lane 4-man attempt, which they then just walked back up the river, not expecting anybody to be there, and they got engaged on by the LeBlanc. They got a 2-kill there, and it was just, they got absolutely murdered in Orcs' accent, if I can do it.
Murdered.
They got absolutely destroyed, and they just didn't even realize. They just kind of were happy to just take it.
And that's something we saw in the Misfits against Diabolus game. I think we remember Zeph on Cassiopeia got zoned out, and he took that massive route round and was saying how bad this is for him. Honestly, it wasn't that bad. Yes, it's unfortunate to lose this, yes, but that is the worst thing that can happen. And we're seeing it here. You walk up into a LeBlanc and a Skarner. Yeah, I'd rather have just lost a bit of CS, to be honest. Shockwave doesn't actually connect to Shockwave. Good sidestep from Nullity. Flash in to secure the stun, and then it's just easy cleanup. And the best thing is, Fax picks up one of the kills as well, so distribute your gold nicely.
And we're going to start looking ahead towards the Diabolus game. I mean, Dragon Control, Nullity versus Diabolus' jungler, which is, for whatever reason, just emptied NG. Well, there is none. There's no different, like...
Yeah,
Diabolus don't care about it.
NG plays a very different style of jungle, I think, to Nullity. Like, NG has a very predictable pathing. If Winter Rain have any idea what they're doing, they'll realize that top lane is a focus.
Yeah.
And they will react to that accordingly.
But any Drake that pops up, whether it be Infernal, whether it be Ocean, whether it be Mountain, whether it be Cloud, it seems like Wind and Rain are very happy to get them as soon as possible, and then start stacking those Drakes, really threatening the Elder Drake if we get that way. This fight here was just beautiful. Great flank position coming out from the Zyra. It was just won the fight, 100%.
I mean, the thing is, this works great in this game, but we've seen Akasune flank twice on squishy mages. If I'm Diabolus and I'm watching this, which they should be, anytime I set up for a team fight against Wind and Rain, I would be looking for this squishy support on my backline. I would just burst them out and then try and clean up the fight from there.
I think it all boils down to MNM's willingness to commit in areas of poor vision control.
Yeah.
Like, they went straight for that dragon and were willing to commit despite having almost next to none in terms of vision control across that area. They had vision control of the dragon pit.
Thing.
Yeah.
And the Baron came off the back of that. I don't think the Baron was actually going to happen until, as we pulled up a replay, Shockwave got deleted by LeBlanc. So it was off camera. I think if LeBlanc...
It was Shogun that got deleted, wasn't it?
I believe it was Shockwave because he was down for the entirety of the Baron.
It was Hades that got deleted.
I mean,
everyone got deleted.
Everyone
this
got
was
deleted.
as the replay happened.
Yeah.
And everyone was too low to go for Baron because of the recalls coming through. And so if the Orianna had survived, then you have that threat from the Shockwave that comes through. Anyway, it didn't matter. NM fell far behind. Crossman became too fed. And now we have a relatively completed bracket. Only the finals left to complete in this first scoring stage. So let's pull it up and have a look. There it is. Everyone's paths. Wind and Rain beating out Warwick, Phelan, and now MNM Gaming. And of course, Diabolus, they beat out Forgotten in Time, Enclave, and Misfits Academy, the #1 premiership team from last season. Best of 5 finals tomorrow, I do believe, between these two teams. Of course, best of 5, it's a bit different from best of 3. You have far more time to figure your opponent out. If things aren't going right in the draft, you can change things up.
I think as well, you can test the waters a lot more. Like, we saw MNM test the water that game 1, and then as soon as you do that, you're 1 game from losing the series. In a best of 5, you have a lot more room to sort of adjust things and negotiate. And I mean, typical of the UK, we've seen a lot of reverse sweeps from best of 5, so a lot of space to make a comeback.
I'm actually really excited for this game because I feel like the playstyles here are moderately similar. Apart from top lane, I think there's a bit of discrepancy, but a lot of these guys are very heavy win lane style players, especially in that mid lane. Both of those players look to try and be aggressive and take kills where they can. Crossman, I think that matchup is going to be really interesting into the mid lane. Overall, though, based on what I've seen today, it would be so difficult to pick a winner between these two. I think this is genuinely going to be an evenly matched competition between the two of them. 2
stylistic differences so far in the way these guys play, which is pretty impressive. That's always the most thing. Just as a recap, that means that MNM Gaming and Misfits exit the scoring stage of this first qualifying tournament with 1,100 points each, and then tomorrow we will find out who gets the big bucks. I mean, it's time to wrap things up, gentlemen. Really important that we continue to plug this. The open bracket is open now. If you have a team, if you want to compete in the Forge of Champions, we welcome you. ForgeChampions.com. Head on over, sign your team up. It starts on the 6th of July, this Friday. And if you're a solo player but you don't have a team, maybe you want to just play anyway. We'll put you in a team with other players if you sign up solo. So, you know, get in there.
Yeah, and you know what? If you've never played in a tournament before, there's nothing quite like being in a sort of a high-stakes situation with your teammates. I used to play sort of high-level League of Legends like 5 years ago. I went to a couple of tournaments in the UK. I was a Xin Zhao jungler one trick. There's nothing, there's nothing quite like playing like a tournament level, and Orcs will be able to tell us probably more recently than that. It's a really thrilling experience.
Well, I think the testament is as well is like you don't have to be, you know, an academy team of an LCS team to compete in this. I mean, we saw Super Duper Giant Truck team. It's just 5 uni students, and testament to them, they played really well, but they got so far in this tournament. They got some prize money, they got some points as well, and they're just 5 friends having fun.
Yeah, top 8 currently so far in the Forge of Champions are the Super Duper Giant Truck team. If you want to watch these VODs later on, maybe go back and watch some of Crossman's amazing LeBlanc plays, head on over to youtube.com and type in LVP space UK. Get all your VODs and actions. And of course, tomorrow we will have our grand finals. Make sure to head on over to Twitter at LVP UK. Follow the action, get some fun tweets. They're complaining that I'm not wearing a flowery shirt, but you guys are, which means I'm now fired.
I'm surprised they can see that it's flowers, actually. When I look at the screen, I can't quite tell, but obviously when I look at myself, I can tell.
Technically, these
I mean,
are flowers,
I
right?
think
Dan?
mine's the most
They're
obvious
kind of
flowery.
flowers. They look like petals.
They look like petals, but I mean, the camera's not
They
going to
look
pick
like
it up.
dotty circles. I mean, these
circles.
like, you can tell, you know? I came here on holiday. I don't know what you guys are doing here.
We're casting some League of Legends. Join us tomorrow, guys. It's 6 PM. It's going to be the grand finals. It is going to be Wind and Rain taking on Diabolus to try and score the first place in this first scoring tournament. Bid you all farewell. Catch us tomorrow at 6 PM.